All right, guys, welcome back. And I'm here today with a very, very special guest whom, after close to a year of going back and forth of talking about having him on, we are finally able to make it happen. The delays on his album have finally come to an end. We are right around the corner, so I'm very excited today to bring on Mr. Ed Mowery from Tiwanaku. Ed, welcome to the show. It's about goddamn time.
Man, I'm telling you, it is definitely about time. Yeah, whole thing, man. I mean, 19 years in the making. At Tiwanaku is just, it's amazing what's happened in the past 3 days since it was announced,
Yeah.
uh, release date and everything.
Yeah, that's that definitely big news and a very long-term project for you, obviously, and clearly a passion project because you didn't give up on it. And so we'll talk about that some more in a bit. And I am, of course, familiar with Tiwanaku as I have been digging into the band pretty extensively for the last year or so due to a previous associate you had who's no longer with you. So we'll leave that person nameless. But that being said, upon hearing about this project, I became very intrigued because not only are your themes and topics and really cool ideas present in this project, and they're very close to my own heart. But you have also just got some really cool ideas and great progressive music and all kinds of stuff I'm excited to talk about. So why don't you give the Misery Point Radio listeners kind of the backstory on Tiwanaku? Because as we said, it's kind of been a long time in the making, and there was a little bit of a break in between there.
Yeah, definitely. It started in about 2003, thought of in 2002 and started in 2003. First demo, we had Richard Christie from Death and Iced Earth and Charred Walls of the Damned.
And
Uh,
Howard Stern.
Yeah, and Howard Stern played drums. We had Rick Brinstrom, guitar lead extraordinaire, play leads on it, and I played all the keys, I played all the bass, and I played all the rhythm guitars, and I sang, of course.
Yeah.
We also had another singer as well, who's no longer with us anymore. So we've just kind of moved on and just stayed a death metal band from here on out. You know, it's um, I do a little bit of clean vocals, but they're probably a little deeper than what people are used to hearing from us before.
Sure. And
But
so now the timing on this band, this was something that you pretty much had started gestating in your brain just prior to you leaving Nocturnus.
yes, definitely. Yeah.
And the concept of this to me, so Tiwanaku is a very sacred place in Bolivia. But why don't you go a little deeper than that for me? Tell me about Tiwanaku and what it means to you.
Well, I've been looking at it for a really long time through books. I mean, before it was all on TV, I was reading books about it, and it's just really magical, ma- majestic place. And I've never visited, and it looks like that's going to happen next year. But yeah, but yeah, I've been fascinated with it ever since I first read about it. You know, the rumors are that it was the landing point of the very first human beings on planet Earth. That's why we call the first album Earth Base One, because
Right.
that's what they called Tiwanaku. That was actually a different name for the place. And you know, there's a sun gate there when during the equinoxes, the sun will shine through, just like up in England at Stonehenge. Same kind of thing. I know the time has gone by and the sun doesn't come exactly up in the right place anymore, but that's just because the Earth has done its thing. But yeah, and you know, it also has a moon gate, and you know, there's all kinds of rumors about those gates opening and the one taking you to the moon and the other taking you to the sun. And the sun, Tiwanaku people worship Viracocha, the sun god, and he's pretty much, you know, what is on our album cover. That's him. And
Nice.
yeah, very cool stuff, man. I mean, our artists for the album, I was blown away when we first saw it because we had decided on what you're wearing to start with. But the label said a few things and we thought about it and we thought they were right, and so we went ahead and made a change. That's why the artwork changed.
Yeah,
But
that's great. And as a side note, I don't know if it's related, and I don't remember if it was you that I was talking to, messaging or whatnot, but wasn't there something where there was a an acceptance by descendants of the Tiwanaku or the existing Tiwanaku to kind of, I guess, bless the project, if you will?
Yeah, descendants of Tiwanaku that live in La Paz, Bolivia now. I got several messages from over WhatsApp, that application on your phone, and it was amazing. They were like, "Hey, where's the band from?" Just trying to get information, and I wrote out a thing that I've been fascinated with you and your and Tiwanaku since I was I mean, well over 20 years ago because I was into it when I was in Nocturnus. So, it was a really easy thing for me to say, okay, that's the name because nobody else used it.
Yeah, which, by the way, is really hard to do in the music industry anymore because you think you've got an original name, and then all of a sudden you go and you do like a trademark search or a copyright search, and you're like, oh, there's 400 of these guys out there now.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it was just seemed like the right thing to do. You know?
Yeah, and so when you had first kind of, I guess, designed this concept, this thing gestated in your brain, you were of course fascinated with, the place, the mythology, the stories, and all that kind of stuff, the fables, if you will. But you yourself kind of have an affinity towards the unexplained and the supernatural, and that kind of carries over into your song topics, right?
Most definitely. I've had experiences. The single we have out right now, "Visitor from Titan," is a story about me and our last guitar player. Rest in peace, Michael Estes. Um, yeah, we took a trip up into the mountains. We were going back to where I lived up there, and it was after a gig. I'd filled in for a band down here in Albuquerque for a gig at a place called the Compound. And on the way home, we were on Indian land, native land, and all of a sudden, this light started developing in front of my truck in the middle of the road. And I'm like, Mike, do you see that? Mike, do you see that? And all of a sudden, it got real big, and we got closer and closer to it. And I started hitting the brakes, and then all of a sudden, lightning bolt shot out from under it, and it flew up the mountain and was gone. And that's pretty much what that song's about.
Crazy. You and I have talked offline several times now about various experiences we have. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who's seeing crazy things. And you have some ties to the Pacific Northwest as well. I'm up in
Yeah.
the Seattle area, and you were here for a bit, if I recall correctly, before you went off to audition for Nocturnus. And
Yes.
this area is somewhat of a hot spot as well.
Yes, it is, and it was back then too. Back then when I lived there, I was in the Willow Burien Renton area.
Okay.
I What up, Forest? But yeah, it's been around me a lot, and I can remember as far back as a kid, maybe 5 years old, seeing shit, going on, and in the skies or in my own bedroom or whatever, in the middle of the night, waking up going, well, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
It's been quite a ride, man, for sure. And just the personal experiences alone have me convinced that there's a whole lot more going on around us than we see. I mean, we can see 3.5% of our light spectrum. 3.5%. What the hell else is going on around
Yeah,
us?
what's with the other 96.5%, right? So,
Yeah,
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 no, that's great. And it lends itself well to artistry and music, but like Nocturnus, which was very heavily delved into kind of the sci-fi universe, although kind of more like on the technology front and futuristic and kind of space front, you guys take more of the paranormal supernatural approach to, and it's not even, I don't know if I'd really say it's sci-fi as much as it's just really kind of story based, your songs and kind of the topics that you
yeah,
deal with. So I think
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, some of the songs were dreams. Some of the songs happened to me. or happened to a friend of mine, or, something it's always been something real that we try to tie in, just to make it all that much more convincing and better,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Visitor from Titan is a true story.
Oh, I love that. It's awesome. And looking at where you're at now versus, back in the day. So, 2003, right? 2004, 2005, you had this going. Things were kind of moving along, but then what happened? Because there was just this period where you guys kind of went silent.
Yeah, a lot of lineup issues plus all my health issues came into play. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's since I started the band, I couldn't tell you how many surgeries I've had. I'd have to go back and look to see how many surgeries I've had. But yeah, it's been mostly, just lineup issues, picking the wrong people to come into the band, and my health issues, man, my medical issues. But luckily, after all this time's gone by, I've also gotten a lot of help. And I'm, at one point I couldn't play guitar anymore.
Oh shit,
Yeah, my neck was so bad that, I couldn't feel my arms or hands or anything. I could barely hold a power cord.
man.
Yeah, it was a sad time, man, because it was like, man, is this over? Is that gonna be it? And then I got the neck surgery, and that surgeon also did low back surgery on me, basically fusions and replaced my discs fully. And they had to go to the front and the back and on my neck and my belly, and it was crazy, man.
Yeah,
But
you are literally a human pincushion at this point.
oh yeah, and I've also got electronics in me. I've got electronics in my lower spine. I've got electronics in my chest right here, and they go up into my brain. I'm part of a medical trial at UCSF in San Francisco, because of some of the conditions I have. I matched right up with them. I actually applied for the trial, just thinking, oh man, maybe they'll give me a call. They called me 4 hours later, and we're like, well, when can we have you down? I had matched because they were spine problems. And there's another thing I have that is really rare. It's called CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome. And it's basically, if you look it up and look up the McGill pain scale, it's at the top of every one of them, above childbirth, above cancer, above surgery, above amputation, all of them. And all it is basically my brain is making pain happen, and when it doesn't need to be making pain happen. And it's basically something wrong with my brain. So they're trying to re get my brain reset so I can get back to normal and not be all of a sudden in the middle of the night. It's horrible. It's horrible, but they got it under control right now. Which
Oh,
is
that's great. Maybe, just maybe, this all could be the product of some, alien abductions or something, doing some experiments on you, right? Who knows? Are you having some time loss lately? Are you, pieces not fitting together correctly?
trying to keep me quiet, man.
Have you seen the shadow people? Come on.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
I actually have three entities that live in my house. They're totally cool. But yeah, when I first moved in, they weren't too cool, but afterwards they got used to me, and they leave us alone now.
they're
So
like, this dude's aight, you know.
yeah,
And what can he do anyways? He's laid up for half the day. So,
yeah. I was
and
actually out in the garage, and one afternoon on a Sunday, and I'm talking to my wife, and all of a sudden I felt something scratch me. And we looked back, and I had 3 scratches on the back of this arm, or back of this shoulder.
dude,
Yeah.
that's
And
some poltergeist level shit right there.
yeah, 3, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
close encounter, right?
uh, definitely. I mean, who knows what to believe, really? I
Sure.
mean, with aliens and paranormal, but with our 3.5% of the seeing of the spectrum, they could be pulling all kinds of shit on us. I mean, and just playing games.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
Keep
It's
keep that butthole covered up because they like those anal probes.
yeah.
And you recently just had a bout where you lost a part of your toe for some, and right before all of this was happening, you had these issues pop up.
I had a hole on the bottom of my foot 2 years ago when I went to NAM, the 2018 NAM. I wore combat boots, like like an idiot. And you know how big NAM is. It's huge.
Yeah, we're
And
not talking Vietnam, folks. We're talking for musicians, right?
yeah, music convention and yeah. And yeah, I ended up with a blister on the bottom of my foot, and I was D deficient at the time, not knowing it, vitamin D deficient. If you don't have vitamin D, your thyroid won't make calcium and you won't heal. So I was really low on D because of a medication I was on. So it wasn't healing. And I ended up, long story short, I ended up changing doctors. I got this new doctor, and he had it shut within 3 months of meeting it. And it was open for 2 years, over 2 years. And I mean, a hole like that on the bottom of your foot down to the muscle.
Crazy.
Uh, he had to release all the tendons in my foot to get it to heal. So one of my toes kind of stuck out a little far, and it was problems. It was, getting ulcers, causing problems and everything. So he wanted to shorten the toe and make it like the rest of my toes so I could fit a shoe on better and, all that good stuff. Well, I went back a week later to after he did it, and he turned white and started shaking after he pulled the dressing off my foot. And he's like, if you don't go to the ER right now, I'm going to call an ambulance for you. And he was shaking. I've never seen a doctor so animated,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you've got necrotizing fasciitis, the flesh eating bacteria on your toe. And you're maybe hours from either it going up your leg or killing you. You got to go right now. So flew to the hospital, and he gave the heads up to the guy there that, hey, this is what you got to do with him. And, they were ready for me. I got to the ER, and I was in 5 minutes. I was in surgery, waiting for surgery within 10. I've
Oh,
never been in the hospital and gone through it that quickly. So that's how bad that bacteria is. But luckily, I only lost one toe, and it's gone. I actually was at the doctor today, and he said, I'm completely clear. I got to keep staying on my antibiotics for now. But yeah, this all happened, and I was in the hospital. I got out of the hospital on Sunday, and on Monday they released the November 4th release date for the Tiwanaku album. You want to talk about an emotional roller coaster, man? I mean, wow,
dude, that is mind blowing.
yeah. I mean, it was. I couldn't believe. I mean, the first of all that I got that, you
Right.
know, and apparently I'm told that it's really apparent here in New Mexico, the necrotizing fasciitis.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, you guys still have leprosy out there too. So, what
Oh
else
yeah,
is
armadillo.
That's right. Armadillos. It's a thing.
It is.
And I was telling you earlier when you were telling me about that, I was like, that's the same kind of thing that happened with Jeff Hanneman from Slayer after he got that spider bite. It just kind of started necrotizing, and it just went kind of
Yeah,
crazy on that. So
yeah,
well, glad you're okay. Glad that you didn't lose any more limbs or worse your life because of that. And you look great today, by the way. I mean,
thank
you seem definitely with it. And speaking of just a roller coaster of exciting news, so here it is after a very long delay and personnel changes, and also you guys had some problems with labels over the last couple years. What was going on with that?
Yeah, just signed with with beginning. We signed with the label that just I don't think they could really handle what we were wanting to do, and it didn't work out. And then the next label, Transcending, they postponed all new releases because COVID hit and kicked his ass. And he's been trying to get that label off the ground for years, man. And he'd been, I mean, talk about a trooper. Mike Ramirez is the man when it comes to that. But yeah, he froze all new releases, and we were like, well, man, we're ready. The album was done. And then I got a email from Avant-Garde Music, and they were opening up unorthodox emanations, their death metal division, and they were looking to sign. I was thinking it was maybe 3 or 4 bands to begin with, and we were one of them. Thanks to my friend in Italy, Marco Santamaria, we ended up with the great record deal with these guys. We've got it for this one record, and you know, who knows if they're going to do the next one or not, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, well, shout out to Marco. He definitely
Yeah.
sounds like he's been a big promoter for the band for sure. So kudos to you, Marco. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I also hear that you were saying that the really cool thing also about this label is not only are they doing a lot for promotion and kind of helping you in this pre-release window, but they are working some magic with vinyl that others just can't seem to make happen. Tell me about that.
I can't say exactly where they get their vinyl from because everybody would probably bombard them. And I know that they would probably be upset with me if I said so, but
Sure.
they're able to get vinyl done in 8 weeks.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Instead of 8 months, which
Mm.
is kind of the going rate right now, 8 to 12 months to get a pressing. You know, Druid Lord, I finally got my pre-order for Relics is on the way, and their album came out back in January, and the vinyl is just now hitting, and so yeah, that's what, seven months since then. So
Yeah.
crazy. So 8 weeks, and so you're gonna do full vinyl. Are you doing other physical formats, cassette, CD as well?
CDs and vinyl to start, and of course, all the digital formats, Spotify, Apple Music, all of them.
Yeah.
Uh, plus, there may be a cassette deal down the road. You never know.
Okay.
I know we've already got the next album probably half to three quarters written and ready to start recording.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and one of those songs, I know at least one of those songs is based off some of your recent medical experiences.
Yeah. I'm
So,
gonna write about the whole experience I just had with
oh,
that.
that's amazing. Which makes me kind of wonder then. So, looking back at the material that you released several years ago and listening to for instance the new single that just came out, sonically, production wise, obviously there's a difference in production value. The new stuff of course sounds modern and it sounds great, and of course I'm also a huge fan of the older stuff, but um how much material for this album was pulled from the vault? Did any of those ideas exist in previous incarnations, or did you just work this whole album from scratch in a recent time frame?
Well, our next single coming out is actually another dream I had, and we're gonna have a lyric video for it. So it's another dream. You know, everything has a meaning. Everything has a root idea. And something that someone can look up and go investigate themselves. And check out. I love all this stuff, man. It's what I live for.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
far as musically, did any of the ideas exist, and they were just kind of never got completed, and you revisited them for the new album, or did you just start from scratch when you knew this album was going to be a reality?
No, there's actually a song off the very first demo that's going to be on the next album.
Okay.
So yeah, and this album, there's a lot of new ideas, but like I said, the next single was on a demo that was on the Today in Battle demo that Alex Webster played bass on. And Today in Battle
Alex from Cannibal.
yeah, sorry about that.
Nice. Awesome.
Yep, Hannibal, and yeah, it's that's going to be on the album too. That song.
How did you rope him into doing that? Was he abducted by aliens and dropped off in your basement, shackled, or did you just happen to know him and say, "Hook a brother up"?
Man, I didn't know him personally, but the first time I ever met Alex, he walked up to me and said, "I love your band," and I'm like, "That's Alex Webster." And I was like, "Thanks, dude." We started talking about it and going on, and then, we shook hands, and it was at an Iced Earth show, so we were going to watch the show and everything, and then, we had gotten Royce Bassam in the band on drums. He's from Clearwater, Florida, and he actually did jujitsu with Alex at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And he said, "Dude, you want to come down and play on a song?" He's like, "Absolutely, I love that band." So he jumped all in. It was off time for Cannibal Corpse, and he was awesome. I mean, he gave us like 4 takes. different bass sounds, all kinds of stuff to work with, and totally pro, man.
He seems like a super cool dude, though.
And one of the nicest guys in metal, man. Period. It's such an humble dude, and he taught me a lot about what goes on in the business, and just really good guy, man.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, I
fun.
know you've played a lot of instruments over the years, but you did a stint, specifically with the bass,
Yeah,
back in the day. And so, did you get a chance to, talk any kind of like bass tricks or anything like that with him?
a little bit, yeah, a little bit. Since I moved over to guitar, for now, I've been really concentrating on that, and it was great to you know, let somebody take it over and do it their own way, just like with Ian, our new bass player. I just let the cat out of the bag.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, our new lineup. I can
yeah. That's the perfect segue. That's what I meant to go for right there, by the way. So yeah, let's talk about your new guys, because obviously we've had some changes, and everything now seems very solid. So let's get a shout out for the troops.
yeah, our lead guitar player, Sean Harry Valentine from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We've got our bassist, Ian Spencer, also from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We also have our keyboard player, Ryan O'Neill, also from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we did have Ryan and Liam Herka on the drums. They actually, I've been longtime friends with them and their father, and so is Ryan. They're also from Pittsburgh. But they helped us get the album up and running, and they had to do some of their own stuff. So we went out and found a new drummer, and we are really, really glad to be announcing Gabriel Lewandowski as our permanent drummer for touring and for the next record.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations to all of you guys for making the final cut, if you will.
Yeah. And Gabriel comes from Resurrection, Equinox, Acheron. He was great friends with our last guitar player, Michael Estes, before he passed away too. So it's working out pretty cool, man.
Well, that's great, man. You got a killer lineup, and now some of the stuff on this album, if I recall, there were some things that were recorded that had to be re-recorded.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, any of the people that you have now, were they involved in that process?
Oh yeah. Sean Harry played all the new lead guitars except for on the last song where we have actually our special guest Daniel Hyman on vocals, and
Okay.
I stepped back and I just did a little saying in the middle of the song. But we have guest Steve Martinez. He's from here in New Mexico, good friend of mine. He did the lead on that, and yeah, we replaced all the bass and all the rest of the lead guitars, and it just had to happen. It just sometimes things don't work out.
Well, yeah, it's true. I see it a lot. I hear it a lot. I talk to people who have experienced it, quite a bit as well. So either way, what I'm hearing so far, and I mean, I may or may not have been privy to kind of an advanced listen to maybe one of the songs that just sounded super, super, super awesome. And I like to kind of compare timelines, right? So, looking at your new material, it still has thematically in the feel of kind of your classic stuff. So you stayed, I think, very true to your original concept and the original ideas for the sound that you had originally created. Was that a conscious decision to say, I really just want to stick with it like this because this is
Yeah,
what I know and love?
definitely, definitely. And the one thing we wanted to do was modernize the drumming.
Sure.
And man, wait till you guys see the single with Gabriel playing drums.
Yeah.
It's gonna be blown away. He's the best drummer I've ever played with, ever.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've played with a lot of guys, and
You
I
played
mean,
with some good guys.
yeah, he's the best out of all of them. He really is. And like I said, I just went to Florida before I got sick and everything with my foot. And we jammed every night. I was there till from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Because it was so damn hot in Florida.
Yeah. Swamp
Plus,
ass is a real thing.
yeah. but yeah, and he's going to be doing the drum playthrough video here this weekend, actually, and I can't wait for everybody to see it and everything, and hear the next song too.
Yeah, dude, that's fantastic. So you got a lot of cool stuff coming down the road there. A playthrough, lyric videos. That it's all happening, dude. I keep playing that over in my mind, and I'm sure you obviously are playing it over in your mind too. Like after all of this, how surreal is that for this dream to finally be realized? You've faced a fucking insane amount of adversity and obstacles in this path to get it accomplished. And now November, was it November 4th?
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be there. So, just a scant couple of months away, it hits the world. How are you feeling about that right now?
I am loving it, man, and this is what I've been trying to do all along. And like I said, I had to take breaks here and there because of the medical, but there was never a time. There was one time when, like I said, my arms were dead. I could barely do a power chord, and Brian Goldsmith, my friend and our ex manager, he's ex because he's also passed away. He talked me out of calling it quits because I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be able to play anymore. What, he was like, go get that surgery and give it some time first. And, he was always really good with words, man. Always could, keep me going. And, every time something crazy comes up, the first thing I think is, what the hell would he say about that?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it's
Yeah.
for me, like as a fan of music in general, and as a fan of the artistic process, and of course as a fan of the artists that put everything they have into these opuses. I get an immense amount of satisfaction out of seeing people's dreams realized. And I talk to a lot of people, but I feel it from you more so than I feel it from a lot of people. And I don't know if that's just a time thing, or there was just some health issues that you thought might do you in or whatnot. But yeah, dude, it seems like now it's coming so fast at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything just popped on Monday. Yeah. It's crazy. It's awesome though. I'm really, really happy, man. And we're gonna have new merch. We're gonna have new everything. We've got all kinds of stuff in on the table for next year as far as appearing live.
Yeah.
Um, we've got 2 European tours on the table. We've got an Asian tour on the table. We have a Bolivian tour on the table. We have a Brazilian tour on the table, and a full South American tour on the table.
Let's talk about that Bolivian possibility for a moment there, because if there's anything in the universe that could bring this fucker home, it's going to Bolivia, and specifically seeing Tiwanaku in person with your
Yeah.
own eyeballs. That's as close to I have goosebumps, dude. Seriously, fucking just thinking about it. That's a
I,
truly cosmic experience. I mean, what would that mean to you for that to actually be realized?
I mean, when we go there, we've already got plans to do a music video where we're there. We're hoping to at least get some footage there because it is above 14,000 feet, and that's going to be pretty taxing on guys that live at sea level. But yeah, we that's one of the big objectives is to go there, and one of our songs off this album. Uh, was a vision of mine I had during a surgery. When I had my knee replaced, and I was wandering around Tiwanaku, and I found all kinds of crazy stuff, and I found a giant being kept alive in this vision, and I found underground, and I found all kinds of crazy stuff that they don't really talk a lot about, but they were wondering. Every person I've talked to about it in Bolivia can't believe I know. And I have a friend that's been there and knew about it and hasn't talked to me about it, and now lives in Czech Republic. And I told him about this vision. He's like, "You were there. You had to have been there. You had to have been there. There's no way you had to have been there. Because how would you know all this stuff?" And it was all true.
Yeah. Dude, that's nuts. I mean, that's just so perfect.
Another song.
Another song. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, lots of stuff in the works then as far as playing live. And from a health perspective, I mean, do you feel up for that?
Oh yeah. other than this setback I had last week, yeah, I'm ready to go. I mean, just push me out on the stage and I'm ready to get ready to get some.
Yeah, yeah, you don't need toes to play guitar and sing. Come on, you'll be fine. The so now you've been doing some rehearsals, and I assume that for the most part, the rehearsals were just getting some folks, ready for some recording sessions and this and that. But are you
Yeah.
starting to think rehearsals towards showtime?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're talking about getting together at least I think at least a month before we have a show and we want to do a show in Tampa. Not sure where yet. We were talking about the Brass Mug. We were actually talking to a couple bands about one to open and one to headline and kind of do a little bit of a CD release party.
Yeah.
That way we play live together again. And we've all played live together except for with the new drummer, but I've played with the new drummer and we're tight. We're already tight, man. It's gonna be impressive live, man. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and worth noting, which is not terribly uncommon these days, but I guess I hadn't made the connection even until today. You guys are not in the same area. You're at different points of the country, so
Yeah.
getting together is not simply just a quick jaunt down the road.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta plan it all out, and I'll be going back either to Pittsburgh or Florida, and then those guys will go to either Pittsburgh and Florida, and we'll get it done, man. And everybody's practicing all the whole album on their own, keeping up on everything every day. I am. Even when I was down, I was still practicing. So it's and when I just played with Gabriel, man, I just blown away. Just blown away with how good he is, man, and how well he's gonna be for this band, because he loves metal and he's been looking for a project to be a part of. And like Resurrection, him and John were real tight and they played together really tight. And he's been looking for that for a while. And Michael Estes, when he was alive, he was trying to get Gabe into this band and things weren't quite working out with me at the time for my medical. And then they went and did Resurrection instead. So, I was like, guys, have a good time. Tell me how great it is, And I had to have, major spine surgery twice, more than twice, but yeah, I've had 31 surgeries, man.
Yeah, damn, dude, that's crazy.
I, I'm counting.
Yeah, not that I'm counting. It's just a roundabout guess, 31 exactly.
Yeah, and
So
I'm counting stitches, procedures like that. There's been a lot of that too. But I mean, I was an athlete when I was younger. I was a soccer player. I used to climb, cliffs. We did all kinds of crazy shit when I was young, man. I mean, I used to think I was invincible when I was young. I found out that's a different story when you get a little older.
found out you are in fact not. Um,
Yeah,
well, yeah. So now, now you'll get to climb some pyramids and maybe climb some other amazing spiritual structures here in your not so distant future. That sounds amazing. I mean, the fact that not only is your album finally coming out after years and years and years and years, but COVID is finally winding down a little bit. Shows are opening back up. The possibility of playing. I don't know. Has Tiwanaku ever had a live show in any of its incarnations?
yep,
So you guys
yep,
were playing back in the day.
yes, definitely. We played here in Albuquerque quite a bit. Yeah, we did play once at State Theater in St. Pete.
Okay.
Uh, did a showcase with the Rock Solid Pressure Show or Rock. God damn it, Rock Solid Pressure Show. They're out of Reno now. They're going to start jamming our songs in October as well. It's cool, man. I've got another interview next week doing with another radio station too, and things are coming along. I've been told interviews are tough to come by, and so far they're coming to me and it's great. And I cannot complain whatsoever
Yeah.
about what's going.
I think yeah, interviews. Yeah, I mean, like I book usually months in advance, and so it's pretty crazy. But
Yeah,
I've always had this spot here for you because I knew this was going to happen. So
yeah.
it had to
I
happen. Yeah,
appreciate you. Sure.
yeah, absolutely. So speaking then of things kind of getting put back on track and moving forward. I mean, you're practicing, you're working towards it, musically. Now you're handling, guitar and vocal duties.
Mm.
You have some pretty technical shit. I mean, are you just pulling this stuff out of your ass, or are you I mean, I look back, of course, on like Nocturnus, which is what most people are going to know you from previously, but you know, the riffs that are leads, right? And some of the stuff that you have is in that territory as well, very technical yet very melodic, as a defining factor of Tiwanaku. And to me, something that really stands out is that it's technical, but it's not technical simply for technicality's sake. It's definitely got a lot of melody. It's got a lot of harmony and changes and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
how do you approach this? I mean, do you just sit down and these things come into your head, or are you a very methodical guitar player?
All right, a lot of things come to my mind right as I sit down playing guitar, and boom, I'll fire up my recording stuff and get it put down to a click tracks, and I've got a library of riffs that I use. I call the riff bank,
Okay.
and I've I've probably got a third album in the riff bank with just in riffs alone. But we're going to be incorporating the other guys' stuff too, like Sean Valentine Harry. He's got great riffs, man. He's been sending me riffs ever since he joined the band, and every single one of them, I'm like, man, it's so usable, bro, and it's right up the alley of this band. It's like him and I are we're gonna meld really well on stage, man, for sure. And Gabriel's even going to get in on the writing, and so is Ryan, the keyboard player, and everybody's going to get in on it. So start some songs out with some bass, and use that bass guitar to our advantage instead of burying it in a mix like a lot of metal bands do, unfortunately.
Wait, does that happen? No,
Never,
come on. Just throw more distortion on the guitars. You don't need bass.
it didn't happen. This record, it didn't.
Nah. So no, dude, that's great, and I'm looking, of course, at the arsenal behind you, and it looks like you're a Jackson kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
So I
Oh,
see a Kelly back there. Let's see. Are these the tools that you use for recording? Oh, look at that. We have some sort of a prototype body going on there.
yeah. Gibson Explorer basically, but it's not a Gibson. It's a Pitbull guitars from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, I just glued this neck on, and I'm gonna be putting it all together, and just waiting for some wire to come in from Amazon, and then it's gonna be probably, depending on how it sounds to compared to the Kelly, because Kelly is the rhythm machine on the albums and on the recordings. But
And is that
yeah,
a rectum fryer I see back there in the corner?
yes, it is triple rec with the bass of 212, and I got a Marshall 410 down there for some bass.
Okay.
Got an 88 key keyboard player that runs East West Sounds. Sounds Online. They're amazing, man. It just the orchestras and everything that you can use with their stuff is just, it's so cool, and it's endless what you can do with it. And so me and a keyboard player sit and just go ape shit with the keyboards as far as coming up with different stuff to make us stick out a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's got a solo on the album too, piano solo. And man, people are gonna be blown away when they hear this.
Dude,
I
that's
was
awesome.
I was blown away.
So are you guys now you went to a studio though to record, right? Or did you lay down the tracks at home and then just bring them to a studio?
We did the drums at Cerebral Productions in Pittsburgh,
Okay.
and then I brought those home. I actually drove up to Pittsburgh and stayed with the two, with Ryan and Liam. They're both brothers. They both played on the album. Um, so it was cool to stay with those guys, and we got the drums done, and then I came home and we stacked everything else except for the keyboards. I did the keyboards while I was in Pittsburgh too with Ryan, but came home, did the guitars, got the bass done, and then things happened, and we needed a lead guitar player, and the Herkas ended up calling up Harry, and man, he fit right in. I mean, we were doing leads a week after I got to Pittsburgh, and recording them for the album. So he's a monster. And what was crazy is we both tuned to the same way, and we both play seven string. So it's like, yeah. you can't go wrong, man. Yeah.
More cosmic fate, playing a hand in the Tiwanaku record. So
Yep.
that
Yep. It's been quite a ride getting this thing together, man. I mean, it took a really, really long time, but I look back on it and I wouldn't change any of it. I mean, I had to get fixed, and you know, that was the main reason. There was other reasons like getting accepted by the Bolivians and there's lineup changes were just really bad. But now we got a full lineup. Everybody's ready to go, passports ready to tour. And yeah, we're gonna go crazy next year touring, man.
yeah.
Uh, like I said, we've got several things on the table. Hopefully they all materialize. That'd be great. Make sure they all happen. And going back to Europe would be great. I went there with Nocturnus in '92 for Thresholds, and haven't been back since. And yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a really long time.
Yeah, the European scenes, they just they just continue to rage. I mean, that's just, I mean, hey, I'm really proud of the U.S. metal scene, and all the corners of the country that have their respective spots, and obviously I'm here, so I'm partial to it. But I've never had the opportunity, but I've got many friends in the business, and every time I hear about them going to Europe and coming back, they're like, "Dude, Mike, seriously, if you ever get a chance." You gotta go. You gotta go try some of these fests that are,
Yeah.
that are out there. And I know it's a bucket list thing for me.
Oh man, we're gonna play Vakken before I die. We're
Oh,
gonna before I die, dude. One way or another, we
yeah,
gotta be open the whole show. I
yeah.
gotta play Vakken.
Gotta do Vakken. And then domestically, I mean, 70,000 tons
Yeah,
would be a dream. And of course, the Maryland Death Fest and stuff is pretty epic. But
yeah. We actually played March Middle Meltdown and Nocturnus for Ethereal Tomb. We played March Middle Meltdown, which was actually, I think, the starting of Maryland Death Fest.
yeah.
Uh, I think, but yeah, we played, and Dillinger Escape Plan was on another stage right next to us, and we had a curtain between us. The
You
drummer,
guys are like back to back. That's
Rick,
hilarious.
first song's like, "Dude, you gotta come here right now," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You have to bang your head, or I'm not gonna know where we are. All I can hear is." And I was like, "Oh my god, dude."
Oh, that's amazing.
We made it through the set pretty good on that one, but that was that was pretty cool. Cool show.
Yeah, it's the ability to kind of get back out on the road and promote the album, and I think bring people a taste of something new, I think is important. And I think people are going to be excited for Tiwanaku. And I mean, you've had a following, people have kind of remained with you, which I think is great. What do you think is going to be different about your approach to Tiwanaku now versus what you did, I don't know, 20 years ago?
um, the live thing is going to be it, man. That's the big difference. And like I said, have the rest of the band join me on writing, and make this a real band. And back then it was people were jumping in to do things, like Richard jumped in to do the drums real quick, and um, Rick did the solos on the first one, and Alex did the bass on the second one. And we were always trying to find the right people to make things happen. And I think we're finally there. I really do.
Yeah, that's awesome. The world is ready for Earth Base One
Yeah.
to hit the shelves, to hit the airwaves. I know I'm fucking ready for it. And then clearly it's not going to be 20 years before we get the next album.
We're planning on following up with another one next year.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on the immediate horizon, then, so we've got "Visitor from Titan" released as the first single, and that was released directly by the label. And of course, we're gonna play it here on the show as well. But you mentioned that you got what, two more singles that are going to be coming out. Are you allowed to disclose those yet?
Not yet, but I could tell you one's a lyric video, the next one's a lyric video, and the last one's going to be a drum playthrough video.
Yes.
But we're going to leave the vocals in the drum playthrough video just so so everybody knows what's up. But that one I think is going to be released on the release date too. So the next one will be a lyric video, and then release date we'll have another video. Gabe doing the drums.
Yeah. And so once this November 4th rolls around and it is officially out there in the universe, what's going to be the very next thing that Tiwanaku does?
It's looking like the Tampa show in March.
Okay.
March, yeah, and then our first tour in May
Oh,
of Europe. Yeah,
so
yeah,
getting right
right.
off to it then.
Yeah, and we've like I said, we've got another return to Europe right after that. Looking at right after that, and then going to Asia, and then coming back, and we're looking at a festival here in the United States too. And man, I think we're just going to be super busy. It's going to be awesome. It's what we've wanted all along.
Yeah. Well, and well deserved. So are pre-orders open yet for the album?
Pre-orders are actually going to come out when this video comes out. So
Oh my good Lord.
yeah.
So I got
So,
some work to do, huh? That's amazing, and you're gonna be able to pre-order it on vinyl as well as CD, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
and digital.
And digital. That's
Yeah.
amazing, and of course, all the big platforms. So, Ed, my friend, we have covered a ton of ground here, but I
Yeah,
don't want to
sure.
leave anything out. Was there anything else that we want to make sure we put out to the universe about things you're working on, about Tiwanaku, or about just anything in general?
And like I said, next year we're going to be appearing all over the world, and I would love to do a full music video of one of these songs. Plus, we plan on following up next year with another record. So lots of touring and lots of recording. That's what we have coming for sure.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of you filthy, filthy, filthy motherfuckers. We have epic stuff coming right down the road from Ed Mowery and company, Tiwanaku. Congratulations, my brother, on this release. Super excited for you. Glad that you're still with us. And
Yes.
very excited for things to come. And the rest of you out there in the universe, just know this is not the last conversation Ed and I are going to have on the air. Open door for you anytime you want to come back on. I know we talked about that again. And so you can count on myself here and Misery Point Radio to support you, to support your projects. And, just wishing you the best of luck out there with all of this. And man, it just couldn't happen to a nicer dude. So it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Awesome. Thank you, man. And I appreciate you doing this for us, and putting us out to the Seattle airways, and I've definitely, next time I'm in Seattle, we'll have to get together and do it for
Dude,
sure.
we're gonna have to get together and try not to get abducted, but as we driving down 16 or I-5 or whatever. But
Yeah.
hell yeah, we'll get together and we'll have whatever beverage you're medically allowed to have, and we'll shoot the shit, and it'll be a great time. So thanks again, Ed. This has been a blast, and to all the rest of you out there, keep your eyes and ears peeled. Pre-order that shit. Go get it on November 4th. I promise you, it'll be worth the wait, and you're gonna love it.
Hell yes, you will.
Boom. All right, my friend. So have yourself a good night. Relax. Take care of yourself. Take your meds, and
Yeah.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Right on, man. Have a good one.
You
Thank
as
you.
well. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Bye.